Let's continue with politics. The Biden White House is asking for a push in the ceasefire negotiations that are happening in the Middle East this morning. And the next person to occupy the Oval Office will have to make some very tough decisions about those conflicts as well. The candidates seem to be offering very different plans on how they would handle the situation. Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes is live on the North Lawn for us this morning. So, Nancy, this is one of those things the commander-in-chief always has to deal with, but this is something that is going to be a holdover from a previous administration. So how are the candidates trying to stand apart from each other on the specific issue of what's happening in the Middle East?
Right. So both of these candidates, if they become president, will have a lot to deal with when it comes to the Middle East, no matter what President Biden manages to accomplish or not accomplish over the next couple of months. Former President Trump has been pretty bombastic, outspoken on this issue. He has made a lot of claims. One of them is that he is more pro-Israel than Kamala Harris is. Another is that somehow the state of Israel will be annihilated entirely if Harris becomes president. That is, obviously extremely far-fetched. But he has made a lot of his solidarity with Israeli leadership. He mentions that he talks to the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, even though he is not currently Trump is not currently in office. He talks a lot less about a two-state solution than Harris does. She has made it clear that that is one of the ultimate goals, as a Palestinian state and an Israeli state peacefully coexisting side by side. She has also expressed more concern about the Palestinian people and the deaths in the Gaza Strip as a result of this conflict. And that is a reflection in part of the fact that that there are people in her base who are very concerned that the Biden administration hasn't done enough to support the Palestinian people and to prevent more deaths in Gaza. And so these two individuals bring very different perspectives to this issue, and I think it's pretty safe to assume, Vlad, that they would bring very different policy proposals to the forefront if they were to be elected as well.
Let me ask you, Nancy, about the Secretary of State, who is also traveling in the region. We've talked about this, Nancy, that President Biden had hoped in the last few months that he had in office that he would be able to achieve an elusive ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. But there isn't any indication that that's on the horizon, even with the death of Yahya Sinwar.
That's right. In fact, the Secretary of State just a short time ago held a press conference with the Qatari Prime Minister. No report of any kind of breakthrough in negotiations. The fact that talks are continuing, I suppose, is a good sign. But you're right that the Biden administration had overtly said, from the president to the vice president on down, hopefully Sinwar's death will lead to some kind of a shakeup in these talks. And while there has been some re-engagement on the part of the Qataris, on the part of Hamas, it hasn't yielded any concrete results yet. That's what we're watching for.
All right. Nancy Cordes for us on the front lawn of the White House. We appreciate it as always, Nancy. Thank you.
Sure thing.